here with us Aarti, who is a soft skill and corporate trainer. She is also an internationally certified life coach and founder and CEO of Amplify with Aarti. But I would also like to make a special mention of why I really wanted to have her as part of this conversation is because she's also a gender and sexuality educator. Okay, I'm pronouncing it a little incorrect, but he's going to tell us a lot about the difficult questions that kids ask and how, as parents, as moms, you can deal with it and deal with awkward situations and awkward and weird demands that kids come up with these days, and how can you deal with them. It's a very different world out there than what probably we all grew up in. And another guest here with us is Sanghamitra. She's a LinkedIn content and brand strategy expert. She's also a career coach, and that's precisely the reason why I wanted her here, so that she can throw some light on how women who've taken a career break, a career gap, how can they resume work again, and what all can organizations really do to make an all-inclusive workplace for young mothers. So keep dropping in your questions in the comments, keep dropping in your doubts. It's a safe space, anything and everything is welcome. And here we are, so we'll quickly jump into the questions that I want an answer to from these two amazing women who've come here. um, but in case you have any questions, please feel free to bombard us with the same. So the very first question that guys I had and I really want an answer to was the in essence it is the title of this very live, which talks about mom life balance. So does mom life balance really exist, or is it a myth? Like, what are your thoughts? And Aarti, let's start with you here.
So I don't like this question at all. Probably I feel that is an incorrect question for anybody. There is nothing called as work-life balance. It's not about mom, but about fathers for each and every person. I feel the word is work-life harmony. So there will be times when you'll be giving 70% to your work and 30% to your family, or 80% to your family and 20%. It is all about prioritization. Maybe your child is sick at that point of time. You want to step back from work a little bit, or there are some deadlines at work you give there and your partner comes in to support you. So in totality it should be a work life harmony. This 50-50 balance, I
Yes.
don't think so it exists at all in anybody's life. Forget about moms, in anybody's life, even
Right.
fathers watching, anybody watching, you, there might be days where you have to give more to one of the side.
Right, right. No, I absolutely agree. I think what I also want to talk about is that, image that we even discussed when we were planning this session, that image of a mother, like a goddess, who has a chakla in one hand, a balan in the other, and a laptop in one hand, and a baby in another. And there are 10 different hands coming out, one with a water bottle and one with a school tiffin box. And that is a celebrated image. And somehow that image has become a representation of a young, a new age mom, and that's how we are celebrating Mother's Day. So I think, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the depiction of a woman like this? And Sanghamitra, what is your take on how we have come to
Um,
see women in today's day and age, and especially on social media in particular?
we expect women to be everything. Like we always say, I see, she is like Durga, she is like Saraswati, and we always compare. Like they have 10 hands and they can do everything. No, like
Yes.
I really believe like women are human beings, so they
Yes.
can also make mistakes and they do mistakes. So you will have to accept it. They like, as you asked, as Aarti told, there is no work life balance as such, but we are always expected in like either it is in law's house or you it's your parents' house. Everyone expects women will be able to do everything, each and everything, starting from their work life will be fine. Their kids will grow up nicely. They will be disciplined. They will not have any issues while growing up. So everything will be 100% right. So I'm actually not very fond of that image that comes up and that depiction we see, that
Right.
women
Right.
are everything, like they are like goddess, they can do everything.
I think, yeah, like Aarti said, we need to normalize work life harmony. Like women are normal
Ah,
people with two hands.
absolutely.
And just to add, otherwise we are giving women and putting them at a pedestal of being a goddess, but we are not even
Yes.
treating them as human beings. So much domestic violence, so much emotional abuse, so much physical abuse. But at the end of the day, are we treating her as a human? When she has to do work, she suddenly becomes a goddess. So anybody who is listening to me, first treat women as human beings. And we also need a break. And it is not humanly possible to multitask. It has been
Yes.
shown in research only 2% can multitask. Multitasking is a myth. So whenever
Right.
you will be trying to multitask, suppose I am playing a game with my child and I am sending an office email, both the tasks will not happen properly. Maybe I'll make mistakes in an email, and the child will also learn that I don't have to pay attention to mama when he's not giving 100% attention, right? The child gets irritated. Can't you play properly with me? So you should be
Hmm.
there one at a time and divide that up, because multitasking seriously is a myth. But
Right.
yes, sometimes maybe a baby is crying and you tend to multitask, but in the normal circumstance, it's not even good for mental health. It doesn't work
Right.
very well for mental health if you are trying to juggle too much between 5, 6 tasks at a time. And your productivity
Right.
will relatively come low.
Absolutely. I think,
Absolutely.
I mean, two very amazing points that came out right now is that multitasking itself is a myth. And like you mentioned, there's a statistic to support that as well. Only 2% people can properly multitask. So if in case you're doing that, chances are that you're probably not exceeding at either of your jobs, so might as well take time out for one and then do one after the other. But Arti, the point that you mentioned on giving that proper time and full time and importance to the child, I want to talk about technoference, like a term coined specifically for that when we are not giving attention to the kids, and probably the kids are asking some questions, and we are so busy with our devices and we are so surrounded by devices. How do we eliminate that, especially in a work from home setup? And I understand both of you here have are running your own thing, and you have the experience of running up from a work from home setup. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with childcare and office responsibilities when you're at home, when you're not even leaving the house?
So it is very important for kids also to understand boundaries. And how early you introduce boundaries is the question. So if your office
Hmm.
timing is 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, you explain to your child this is where mama works. Okay, so the
Hmm.
child also understands patience. He or she will wait if there
Hmm.
is not an emergency. Otherwise,
Right.
children come barging in because you are entertaining them. That is why they take all the liberties from the moms and not from their dads.
Right.
So because
Right.
we are not only not setting up boundaries, then later on we
Yes.
say, oh, our children take us for granted. But we are the ones who are not setting boundaries, and in the name of, oh, my child has come. So it's very, very important. So you will also maintain the same with your child. Second, when it's a free time, when it is maybe your dinner time, we have a habit of just scrolling through the phone. So rules are for
Absolutely.
everyone. So there should be a family unsaid rules. I will not say rules, unsaid value system that you say. So then, just children, when they grow up, I have a teenager. She also follows the
Hmm.
same thing. If she sees both the parents on the phone, why not? She will pick up a phone. Children will
Absolutely.
always learn by seeing and not by telling. And I think this is the biggest
Absolutely.
mistake that you do. Suppose you pick up a phone and tell your boss that I'm not coming, I'm unwell, and you are teaching your child to be honest. Sorry, boss, your child
Hmm.
will learn that
Right.
little lies is okay. Mama's
It's
also telling
okay.
lies. Mama's also
Yeah.
telling lies. So it is you are the role model. So walk the talk is so so important for the child. So that type of an atmosphere that you create at home. So first you need to be disciplined to bring discipline in your child's life. And it is about
Absolutely.
parenting as a partnership between you and your partner. You are not doing, your
Hmm.
spouse is doing, so it's a co-create relationship together between you and your partner when you're bringing up the child. And
Yeah, I
not
think you're
only the
absolutely
mom's
right.
responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah. I also feel that it's also about everyone whom the child is exposed to in the family as such. If you are staying in a setup wherein your parents are also staying with you, either side of the parents, doesn't matter, in laws or, your parents, it's very important how everyone, so like you said, rules are for everyone. It has to be for everyone because the child does at the end of the day get impacted. So, guys, to all our viewers here, I want to say that between the three of us, we have the whole range of kids. I have a 2 year old. Sanghamitra has here has a 4 year old boy and a beautiful 12-year-old girl. And like Aarti mentioned, she has a teenage 17-year-old teenager, right? Am I right, Aarti? Yes. So,
Yes,
any
yes, yes.
questions that you guys have, please feel free to bombard us with those questions. Like, this is an open forum. And here, Sanghamitra, I'll come to you. Aarti did talk about setting boundaries, right? And I think it's probably easier to have I don't know. I don't think it's easy to have a conversation with a teenager. I take it back the moment I said it. But still, it's more, I think, because I'm dealing with a toddler right now, it's very difficult to explain the concept of time. And, this is the time that mama is really working to small child. How do you deal
Right.
with that with your son? Because and given the fact that your husband has a proper 9 to 5 office job and he's leaving the house,
Mhm.
so how do you do deal with that कि एक पेरेंट तो ऑलरेडी जा ही रहे हैं और मम्मी घर पे है and she's also not looking at me, so that child's expectation, that broken heart, that big eyes, and then
Yeah.
that guilt giving into what they want to do, right? At the end of the day, you let them then watch TV. Chalo dekh lo bhai Coco Melon. It's okay because I'm not able to give you time. How do you deal with that? How should mothers like deal with that? And what's your take?
Uh, like now it's still as he is going to be 4 this month. So by now he is accustomed with mama is working this time, so I do not need to disturb her. But at least 2 years back, it was nothing like that. It was
Hmm.
more of like whenever I sit with work and he will start doing anything that will divert my attention and it will take it to him. So he used to do
Hmm.
everything like that. So yes, I also did like you see Coco Melana, let me work. I have a meeting, you do this and do. But then uh, I dropped him in school basically, kindergarten and the daycare, so that he is busy out there and someone is there to take care of him
Wow. Nice.
during the morning. So morning is the time when I work, as work from home is quite difficult for me. I have as I don't know if you people know, my son is very hyperactive.
Okay.
So hyperactive, he doesn't sit anywhere for even for a minute. Even he goes to school, he keeps on running. So I get complaint every time that your son is very naughty, he doesn't sit anywhere.
uh,
So but dheere dheere he is just trying to adjust. Like he's like not like normal other babies who settle and whom I say that you sit down and you sit and you work. So in that case, now he goes to school in the morning around 8. He comes back around 1 o'clock. So I have that morning time when I can work. And
hmm.
before this year also, I dropped him in daycare. So he was there for 3 4 hours. So that is the time when I work. And again in the
Okay.
afternoon when he goes to sleep, I work because it's very difficult to manage with him,
Right.
that you sit and I'll work. So when he
Yeah.
sees that no, mama is very serious, she is not giving me any attention, then he will come and he'll sit on my lap and I'll work. So that is
Ah,
how this is going on for now. But
yes.
yeah, I
It's gonna
really
get
felt
better.
thoda sa issues handling him
And
I think
see,
during the
I
work.
think
see,
what you
that's the
said.
beauty. Sorry to interrupt. That's the
Yeah, no, no,
beauty. That
please.
is how, from a 2 years to 4 years, Sanghamitra is already putting in boundaries. So you've started
Huh.
Yes.
understanding that my
Hmm.
mama works too. Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
Right.
and she's
It is
managing the
very
time very
important.
beautifully. That 1 o'clock when I come home, mama should be. Now, at that point of time, there might be an emergency meeting, but otherwise, she's giving her full attention to him.
Yeah,
So
he
Yes.
he's
knows that this
fulfilled.
is the time mama is there with me. She will not go anywhere. She's not working. She's not doing anything. She is there for
Yes.
me. So
I think what I also
that's
understood
how he
is
is.
that finding that activity for the child as well. If the child is free, like, can you, instead of screen time, can I find some
Mhm.
activities like you talked about a
Right.
daycare center, right, wherein the child is doing some activities? And I absolutely agree. They also need some kind of a routine in place because that will help give structure to them. Okay, there's a routine, there's this structure.
Right.
Mama also has a routine. Mama also has a structure, and this is the time that we spend together. Very nicely
Mhm.
put, guys. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next question that I have, what during your mother journey of motherhood, what has been the most memorable time for you? I mean, like, it's the event, it's the we're celebrating Mother's Day, and let's talk about the happy things. And I mean, over to you, Aarti. Like the most beautiful memory that you can think of. that you really enjoyed, that made you feel, wow, I like, that's why I became a mother?
Um, People often told me, even my daughter now, she's like 17 and she questions, Mama, that you gave up on your job. So people who don't know, so at an age of very soon, and I finished my engineering, my MBA, and at an age of 26, 27, I was heading a chain of restaurants and I was a director of a company. So
Wow.
at that point of time, when I conceived, and I was finding a 12-hour job difficult. Saturday, Sunday, restaurant industry works. So I thought, okay, I'll take a year and a half break. So she always feels that guilt that Mama's career took a dip because of me. And I keep on
Hmm.
telling her it's not because of you. That's a choice which I made. So you don't have to
Right.
feel the guilt at all. So yes, but the whole journey of motherhood was very, very special. And as you introduced me around a sexuality educator at when she was
Yes.
around 6, so I was doing some sessions, not into full-fledged trainings. I was teaching in certain colleges. And at that point of time, I entered into this NGO where I'm still working. It's called as Enfold, where I became a trained sexuality educator, which was very different from my niche because I
Hmm.
am an engineer who's a maths background, suddenly going into
Wow.
biology. And I come from a very
Right.
small town, and talking about sex was something which didn't come so easy to me. So I
Hmm.
struggled a lot, but that was the best decision for me, which I took. So today
Wow.
I can say that my 17-year-old can talk anything under the roof with me. She can share her
Wow.
feelings, she can share her crushes, she can ask doubts on pornography, anything we can talk as a family. And I've
Wow.
cultivated that atmosphere in my home that she even talks all this to my husband. So there is no
Right.
that I don't have to talk to Papa about this. If she's having her
Ah.
periods, she shares her discomforts with him. She tells how does a
Hmm.
period pain look like. Papa, bring me this pad. So that
Hmm.
comfort normalization in the home, that has been a
Right.
beautiful journey with
Wow.
her where I have acknowledged her crushes and those sweet little feelings what she had as a teenager. So I'm really, really blessed that this journey flew like this. So I have no regrets and I think I'm very
Wow.
successful. Maybe there were dips, but I think that was required for me to enjoy and
Wow.
cherish motherhood. That's a choice which I made. So I'm happy
Yeah.
with my choices.
Wow, this is so nice and so amazing to hear, and what a very different way that you put it out. So, Sanghamitra, I would ask you the question. Like Aarti talked about, like such an open culture and atmosphere in the house, and she being a sexuality educator, which she kind of picked up when her daughter was 6 years old, and she's doing great at it, and I'm sure she'll have a lot of things to talk about. So, can you share with us some of those very difficult and insanely weird questions and those absolutely awkward moments that you probably had with both your kids, questions that your daughter probably might have put across to you, and which you found difficult to answer in that moment, and probably had to resort to Google that agar meri beti, because I think that's how my sister-in-law did it, and that's what I told her, let's Google it कि अगर
हाँ
बच्चे ने पूछा तो कैसे कैसे जवाब दे. But this is a great forum, so any questions that you can think of, and probably Aarti here can help us answer those.
Yeah, of course. Like I as I don't know if you are aware of, but I have a daughter, and like I as you know I have a daughter, but I have adopted. She's adopted, and
Okay.
so it's like very different kind of a relation we both have. Like sometimes it's a
Mm-hmm.
mother daughter kind of a relation, sometimes it's more of a friend kind of a relation. So she comes up with a very like I have never thought ki 12-year kid can come up this kind of questions ever, because I have never asked. So
Yes.
uh like it's like, Mama, do you have boyfriend? Mama, can you tell me like where do babies come up from? So these are the some
Hmm.
certain questions which kids come up with, and I am actually not aware like what to do. Like, so we
Mm-hmm.
see these sanitary ads on a TV. So one day she was sitting and this ad were going on. So she started asking, Mom, what is this? Can you just explain me like what is it?" Other people were there at home. My father was there, my mom was there, and they suddenly reacted, "No, you go from here. We'll explain it to you
Hmm.
later." So these are a couple of
Yeah.
things that come up and they ask, and we tend to say that you go now, we'll explain it to you later. And she's like,
Yeah.
why you can tell me now what is it that you're seeing. So these are the things that come. So Aarti, can you help me? Like, I don't know actually how to answer. We always end up saying,
I'm on the
you
same
go, I'll
page.
tell you sometime later.
So, first of all, those people who are listening to me, one thing is when a child is asking you a question, they already know a very half-baked, cooked something information which
Yes.
they have heard. And in our times, we were not exposed to that much. Now, if we
Hmm.
say, shut up, please go from here, I'll tell you when you grow up, the child's curiosity, you have built it more. So the child
Hmm.
probably will now go and check up with friends. Or if the child is 6, 7 years old, devices are in their hand, they know how to and put it in Google. And that
Right.
information can lead to addiction of pornography, which is not good for the child at all. All right. So there are
Hmm.
certain questions which I'm going to answer. Maybe I'll not be able to answer the. This is a whole. We do a 4 hours workshop on this.
Absolutely.
And so,
I
but
can
few
imagine.
questions I'll just explain you. Suppose a 5 year old is asking, why do I look like Papa? Or why? How do I? Where did I come up from? So mostly we answer Bhagwan ne diya. God has given you. We brought you from the
Yeah.
hospital. Now
Yes.
the child, when they grow a little bit and they start seeing a little bit somewhere something on the TV, they think, no, no, my mama doesn't know all this. Or they'll say, bring one more child from the hospital. I need a sibling. So,
Hmm.
so simple way to answer this to a 5 year old. Now you are thinking sex on head. It's not there with the children. A 5 year old is
Hmm.
not going there. So for a 5 year old or a 6 year old or even a 4 year old, you can answer that the way you play with blocks. There is one and it forms one huge building or something like blocks. There's one cell from mummy and one cell from daddy. When they may mix together, a baby is formed, and this is how you were formed. So what
Hmm.
has happened? The child will go happily, but the child will again come back. But around 7, 8. But how do the baby cell meet? When mama, papa come very close. Now, why we are telling children this? Because we also need to teach them about child sexual abuse, which is
Hmm.
an
Hmm.
which is a crime which is horrendous. So if I
Hmm.
don't tell them, if I introduce sex as a shame act to them, they will never understand what is the difference between abuse and consent when they become a
Hmm.
teenager. So always
Hmm.
remember, to a small child we tell this much, and it's like a concentric circles. We start giving more information when they grow up.
Right. Right.
So
I think that's very
where does a
important.
baby come out from? You tell near the susu place there is a, so they will not understand words like vagina or, and they're too
Yeah.
big words for them, because they might be seeing in National Geographic or a puppy has given, so they know all mammals reproduce the same way. So you can say
Hmm.
near the susu place, there is a place, babies come out from there. I remember talking to my 6 year old when she was 6. She asked me this, and then she immediately had seen 3 Idiots. She said, now I know why that auntie, because they
Yeah.
are thinking, they're
Yeah.
Right.
correlating. They're
They can
correlating. And then
Absolutely.
correlate.
she asked me, Mama, is it so painful? Then I said, it's like a rubber band. It stretches, it
Hmm.
comes back. So it was easy
Hmm.
for me to explain her periods then, okay, from where the blood
Right.
comes out. So all these questions are just, so you don't have to give too much information. You don't have to give them information like, chalo, let's sit and today have a class. They will ask
Yeah.
these small little questions here and there, and you don't have to miss
Right.
a chance. And if
Right.
you don't know, it's okay. You tell mama doesn't know, I'll get back to you. And make sure you
Hmm.
get back to that child,
Yeah.
Right.
because
I
this
think
is
that's
so
very important.
important, so
Mm-hmm.
important. And especially Swati, like you have a 2 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, and 4 year old have a habit of touching themselves in their genitals while they're
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
sleeping
Yes.
or watching
Yes.
TV. So
Right.
that's a good way of telling them that we don't touch ourselves in front of others, we touch ourselves in private, nobody
Hmm.
touches you. And if somebody touches you, they ask permission, that this is a rule.
Hmm.
So now what you're telling them, safety rules as well
Mm-hmm.
as
Yes.
teaching them social etiquettes.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
children take rules very black and white. So you tell them like
Yeah.
certain rules, like clothing rule, you always cover yourself in front of others.
Hmm.
Underwear for a boy, and so these are
Mm-hmm.
some clothing rules, some talking rules, some touching
Hmm.
rules. Now these are the 3 rules you teach them. Now they
Yeah.
know these are the rules. If somebody violates, they are not safe adults. So
Hmm.
if there
Hmm.
could be
Hmm.
any abuser in the family, and these are sad statistics but important, 93, 94% of the abusers are known to the child.
Yeah.
And we are only telling
Absolutely.
them stranger danger. It's
Mm-hmm.
not we have to scare them up. We have to just empower them so that they
Yes,
start talking
but
about these sensitive issues. Because once we shut them up, they will never come and talk to you.
Yeah.
right.
That is
Yeah.
very true. I think that's the thing. I think coming back to the whole what we talked about, mom life harmony. At the end of the day, I feel the responsibility somehow of having those conversations. In my experience, I feel it comes down to the mother. As a mother, you feel that I'm responsible to have that conversation. So, do you think it's a gender specific thing, like the fathers
No,
talk
no,
to
no,
the
no,
boys
no,
and the mothers talk
no.
to the girls?
No, see,
Mm-hmm.
like I am in a nuclear setup, and
Mm-hmm.
when my daughter turned around 11, and I thought it's a high
Mm-hmm.
time I have to tell her about periods. Though my
Mm-hmm.
husband is not equipped, see, everybody of us is not equipped to talk like this. So I made him
Absolutely,
sit there.
yes.
Because if
Hmm.
she starts a period, suppose I've gone for a 2 hour session also, she should not be running
Yes.
to the neighbor. She should go to
Hmm.
him. Her
Yes.
discomfort, she should discuss with the father. So I made him
Yes.
sit. I drew a uterus and a ovaries and explained this is how medically things will happen. And you don't have to
Right.
get scared. And she became very cautious. She said, Mama, I'm going to keep a panty in my bag, school bag.
Hmm.
What should I do? And to my surprise, in sixth grade, seventh grade, she had gone for a school trip and she started her first period in her school trip. I was not
Oh,
even there with her. I
right.
could not sleep those 3 nights. But because I had
Yeah.
prepared her so well, you won't believe, Swati. She called me from there and 11, 12 years old, and she calls me from there. Mom, I'm going to tell you something. Don't panic. I said, Beta, what?
Hmm.
Mom, I've got my periods. I'll manage.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's so
Wow.
nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And I am here.
That's
My heart
brilliant.
is sinking. My heart is
Yeah, of
sinking. My poor
course.
child. I'm
Oh
not
my
there
God.
for her. So
Right. But I think what
that
you mentioned
preparation
about
is very
even,
important.
yeah, even having your husband to sit there, I think in a lot of family setups, all of this conversation, and I think there's this gender role division that I see. Even growing up, we've seen that. And I think somewhere it's a part of our society. And it's very important to talk about it because when we talk about equality, harmony, and, equal rights and having a support system, it's very important for partners to kind of participate in all kinds of things. It's not that if it's a boy, then the father will sit down and talk to the boy. If it's a girl, then the mother will sit down and talk to the girl. And you very correctly mentioned it's okay. Like as a mother, I can talk about periods more intelligently, and I can draw the uterus and I can talk about it. I can talk about the pain, the things that you need to know. But a parent needs to be there also, be it with a boy or a girl, need to inform them. They need to be aware, and as a family, everyone needs to be aware of the basic nuances, and they should not be shy, and it should not be a topic like Sanghamitra mentioned that abhi nahi baat karenge. Hush hush topic
Right.
hai. Ye
I
ye
really
See,
awkward
feel
hai.
this at my home. It
so
should
Yes.
see,
be very normalized and everyone should
mm,
be okay with it. This is normal thing that is happening and we all should accept that. Like why to say
see,
you go while I'll explain you later on.
I
most
remember
of the
one time.
problem,
Yeah.
just
Huh?
to
No,
add
no,
one
please,
thing,
please.
most of the time, it, when we make this open atmosphere, I have seen that transition happening at home. Now she sees father only ordering online things, so she will be the one who is explaining that, Papa, fifth day, this much bleeding happens. I need this size of the pad. Both of them will be searching, and so
Nice.
many new things have come. Maybe I might not be
Yeah.
knowing, and then he's finding out, okay, for pain, what type of period panties, and they explore,
Wow.
they order themselves, and I don't have even to go in between this conversation. So that is
Right.
something. And even if I have a son, I need to talk about erection, masturbation, pornography to children
Yes.
who are 11, 12. Why do we take
Yes.
sons for granted? That's something
Mm-hmm.
so important that
Absolutely.
we need to, because
Very important.
again, boys are more sexually abused as compared to girls, again, a statistics. Because
Mm-hmm.
we, again, the problem is with our parent. The moment a boy
Yes.
cries, what do we say? Don't cry like a girl.
Don't cry
Don't
like a
cry.
girl. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
why should they
Yes.
not
Get to
Cry.
cry.
say their
Yeah.
emotions?
They have
Yeah.
a feeling, they have emotions. They should cry. I agree.
Yes, I think it's important. I think what you mentioned is that the responsibility of imparting that education does not completely lie on the mothers. And it's very important as a family unit to kind of educate your children and better prepare them, equip them. I think Sanghamitra dropped off. I'll join,
Mm-hmm.
make a join. Yeah, she's
No,
No, no,
back
she
here.
I'm
joined. She joined.
Yeah, she joined. So coming back to our let's come back to the whole workplace thing. Now we discussed the family part of things, the personal life, how do we balance that, how can partners contribute. Sanghamitra, you are a career and a career coach particularly, and as a choice, we see a lot of women around us who take a
Hmm.
break in their career, right? And that
Right.
taking a break in the career comes with its own because purely because of motherhood and no other reason. And that taking a because your physically your body demands are such that the child depends on you more than probably the
Hmm.
partner. Maybe it's possible in some cases to not take, like for a lot of mothers they don't do that, but there's this anxiety of joining back the workplace. There's that stress whether I'll miss out on things. So what are your inputs to a young mother who's probably taken a gap in her career, or who's planning motherhood and is worried about that, hey, if I take a
Hmm.
gap in my career, how would I get my job back? So what would you want to say to her? How can she prepare to get back into the workforce, and how should she be there for the child? Should she take tension? Should she just relax that time with the child? What are your views?
See, career break is optional, but sometimes, like when you are pregnant, you will have to take a break. So that's
Hmm.
important. But coming back to job is totally up to the person, up to mothers basically. So she will have to prepare herself in a way that okay, I can drop my kids somewhere, or maybe at home I can keep someone who can take care of my kids. So having that belief and that trust is the first thing to go back to job. So
Okay.
you will be able to go back to your career again only when you are aware, or you believe that my kid is safe with someone.
Right.
So either you take up a job that is, maybe you are not available for full time. Maybe 9 to 5
Hmm.
is not possible for you to join. So go
Right.
ahead with something which will like be a part time kind of thing. Either you join a school where you will be able to give time, only the school time, like maybe from 8 to 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and then you are back home to your kid. So for initial years, you will have to get someone. Either you have some childcare assistance, or you have your in-laws or your parents ask them to come down or stay with your kid, so that you are adjusting with your career, and again you are going back to your own world. Like that is
Hmm.
also your world. Before the kid was there, that was your world, your career,
Right.
your job, everything, right? So in that case, I believe this is the first thing mothers should think about, how their kid will be safe. And once that is decided, they should look for, it's not necessary you will have to go back to the job that you used to do. Maybe like I
Right.
have a friend who was a CA, and she worked in the CA firms, and she was happy doing all the finance kind of work. But once she had
Hmm.
a kid, it was difficult for her to get back to job. She waited for around 2 years to go back to job, and
Oh.
she was looking like, I don't know how will I get job. She was giving interview, but nothing was happening. Then
Hmm.
she changed her line. She took up school teacher training. She did that, and then now she has joined school, and she's doing, and she's happy. Her son is
Right.
also has joined the same school. So it's not
Right.
necessary you will have to go back to the job that you were doing. Maybe you can shift, you can go into
Okay.
digital marketing. There are a lot of other jobs that you can shift and you can learn. So
Right.
during that period, without getting upset or depressed that I am unable to go back to job and I'm unable to crack it, so it's better that you
Right.
do some training, learn something new, upskill yourself so that you can go ahead
Hmm.
with another field. So
Yeah.
these are the
Brilliant.
two
Brilliant
things I
points.
believe you should think
Absolutely
about.
I
brilliant points. Very
just want to
nicely put,
add
Sanghamitra. Yes, please,
Just want to
Aarti.
add one thing. I can't help myself not sharing this. My mom told me one thing, and that's the mantra of my happiness, and I want to share with
Hmm.
everyone. The moment I think I'm making a sacrifice,
Right.
Hmm.
you will be sad. And
Yes.
nobody in this universe makes sacrifices. Now, I'll tell you the
Hmm.
reason. If I left my job because it was my choice, because I wanted to be called as a good mother. Nobody
Hmm.
told me to do that, right? There could be women who
Right.
are forced to do that. But most
Right.
of
Yep.
us, we think on
Yes.
the victim side, oh, I'm sacrificing so much. The moment the
Hmm.
word sacrifice comes, mental health goes for a toss. So whatever you
Absolutely.
do is for your own happiness. So if I
Yes.
chose to that, so that was my own happiness. And
Hmm.
people who are preparing for interview, I was helping a client prepare for an interview after a 4 years career gap. I told her, you ask for an equal pay or an increased pay. And she says, Aarti, how can
Hmm.
I ask? It was a project coordinator role. I said, you can ask, you can tell them in this 4 years, the amount of experience of managing the kid, the family has increased, which I would not have got in the
Yes.
office. So my experience has not deteriorated, it has increased. I can manage so many
Absolutely.
things, I can coordinate, I can do so many tasks together now. I can handle,
Absolutely.
my EQ has risen. So what Sanghamitra said, upskilling is one. Look
Yes.
at your career graph before planning a child. Look what you want to do, not necessary
Hmm.
just because a child you change your career path. So
Right.
it is something that you plan ahead. And obviously here again, equal partnership. There
Yes.
could be days, suppose if is a woman wants to work and doesn't want to give up on her dream, and that is what is she wants to do, then there should be an agreement between both the partners. Okay, 15 days I will take easy, 15 days you take it easy.
Right.
Or 20
Absolutely.
10 10 20, again harmony, not 50 50.
Not.
So it could
Yeah.
be, yeah, so it could be again
Whatever
a
works for you.
settlement between both, whatever works for
Yes.
both of you. Again, the
Yes.
child, planning of the child, bringing up the child is both the parents' responsibility, not one. Yeah, I
Absolutely. I
agree.
completely
Feeding
agree.
the child initial responsibilities only a mom can do
Yes.
biologically, but bringing up the child, nurturing a father can also do beautifully. It's not only mother's love; it's a father's bond is also, which is very very necessary for the children, for the
Yes.
upbringing of healthy children, healthy mothers, happy
Yes.
children. That's the mantra.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think what you mentioned around happiness and what Sanghamitra mentioned about comfort, you need to really focus on what I understand. The key takeaways from here are whether you decide to take a career break, whether you decide to continue with your job, it's your choice at the end of the day. It should be your choice because as long as it is your choice, you will be happy, you will be comfortable, and that's what you need to focus on. The purpose of life is to be happy. Whatever brings you happiness, just focus on that and keep doing that. And if you really want to get back into that whole corporate zone, the corporate career, the same career, upskilling can help. Maybe you can reach out to other women who've done that, who've been there. And I think it's important also, just one thing that I want to point out. People say, help, extend the helping hand. Yes, it's very important that your partners are helping you, supporting you. It's also important to provide that help and support as colleagues in the workplace. And moving the topic now from centering it from the point of view of the mother who's taking a break, not taking a break, but once you become a mother, your life just changes completely. There's this whole set of responsibilities that come to you. There's this hormones, I would say, forget the responsibility side of things. You're biologically, your body changes, your physical appearance changes. You're a different person altogether. That's how I felt, at least. So how can companies, how can colleagues, how can people around be more supportive and can give a more inclusive environment? And Aarti, if you can talk a little bit around that what can companies do for young moms, and how can they make it a more okay, better experience? You did talk about somebody asking, your friend asking for a higher pay, a higher income because she has got more experience. So tell us about it. How can companies look at it better? What can HR do?
Say, first of all, it is whenever we talk about inclusion, I always say diversity is a fact and inclusion is a culture, and the entire mindset which needs to change here.
Yes.
When you meet somebody, the first thing you don't say, Hi, how are you? You will say, Hi, Ram, you have gained so much weight. That's the
Right.
first question you ask. I don't understand is a woman, and especially this is for women because she is only identified by her weight. Obviously, there'll be
Yes.
changes, and it is so important to first embrace yourself, embrace your scars. You are, if you love yourself, no, then there is no entity. But yes, people around you also should be inclusive. And then you asked about workplace lactation rooms, creches to support the
Very
working
nice.
mothers, or certain times working from home option, hybrid model. All these things should be there in the corporate segment, because it is so important to support the women, because not because they are the lesser ones, because when
Hmm.
you employ women, the type of creativity, a mix of people, You see teams where there are a mix of women and men will perform for your business much better. Your revenues will be
Yes.
much higher. Your creativity would be much higher. It is beneficial for your own company.
Company.
So it is
Yes.
necessary for you to support the
Yes.
women there.
I
And
think,
for that,
yes.
lactation rooms, proper care for the
Yes.
babies in the offices itself, and certain time
Exactly.
models like hybrid mode. Okay, you can go early, and this is the time when
Yep.
my child needs, and all that should be flexible there. And it is
Flexible.
not a,
Yes.
yeah. So that's something. And people around, oh, she's a woman, no, so she goes early. Those type of mindset really needs to change,
Stereotypes. Yeah.
Yes,
I think
correct.
people
because
need
she's
to
going
do away
early
with.
because that father is not coming to take care of the baby.
Yes.
So it really
Exactly.
needs to change the stereotypes and the body shaming and the men. So it is
Yes.
not only young mothers. I am I'm in my 40s. I am seeing changes in me because I might be stepping towards menopause.
Mm-hmm.
Or now
Yes.
is the time where my daughter might, she's preparing for engineering entrances, she would fly away from the nest. So that separation anxiety. So every age has,
Yes.
so I'm preparing myself to let go because my life revolved around her. Suddenly she's not there. What I have to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a working
Yes.
mom. I'm thinking about who are housewives, how would they cope up with? And
Yeah.
I'm
How would
preparing
they manage?
myself from last 1 year on this. So every
Yes.
age has their own anxieties. So it's so
Absolutely.
important to actually know about it before you get a shock of your life. Okay, now this has happened, what to do,
Absolutely. I
right?
completely agree.
Right.
I was discussing about the session on Mother's Day with a friend of mine, Tanushri, and she mentioned a very beautiful program that one of her companies had deployed, and she was the creator behind it when she had her child, and it's called Mums on Board. And something as simple as, if you have an employee who's taken a maternity leave, just checking up on her, just calling her up and asking her, hey, how are you doing? That's more than enough. There is Everyone around her is asking about the baby, about the child, and I think that happens a lot to a lot of us.
Mhm.
And the family around, probably while doing that, while asking about that baby, they in their minds, in their heads, are thinking, hey, I'm helping out the mom. But I feel somewhere a mom does feel like, she has taken the back seat. When you're pregnant, everybody's asking about you, everybody's asking about your health, but your health takes a back seat. So I think a simple, hey, how are you doing? How are you holding up? How are you doing? And we are missing you here at work, making her feel important, something, keeping a role ready for her once she gets back, giving her that flexibility of time. I think that's very important. And if organizations do that, it will really change the way, it will change the narrative. Like you mentioned, Aarti and Sanghamitra, the narrative right now is that moms have to take care of the baby, they might leave early. The narrative is, hey, how can I ask for extra pay? I've taken a 4-year gap. If I go back, I need to ask for a cut. In fact, I need to ask for, maybe I'm willing to join at 2 level down because I've taken a gap. So the narrative itself does not support the women, and we ourselves are not willing to ask for more. We are not willing to step up. We feel that if I have not participated in the corporate career, I need to lower my expectations. And that will change with that all inclusive thing that you talked about. And I think we're running short of time, and we have a question which is talking about mental health. And I think you touched upon it, Aarti, and that was the last question that even I had in mind. That amongst all of this, growing children, random questions. I mean, my recent question wasn't from my daughter; she can hardly talk right now, but was from my niece who asked me about vape. What's a vape? And I was like, oh, where did you see a vape? For my first reaction was, तुमने देखा क्या? उसका तो advertisement भी नहीं आता है. In my head I'm going, अरे उसका तो advertisement भी नहीं आता है. And then I'm thinking, oh, did she see, like, maybe my husband or somebody else in the family do it? अभी क्या होगा? ये किसी को I was going on another tangent altogether. Now the question is, so yeah, so amongst all of this, the weird questions, the corporate life, office politics, घर गृहस्थी के काम, mother in law, father in law, बच्चा, पति, everything, how do you maintain your sanity? That's the $1 million question. So I think I would
Absolutely.
love to hear your thoughts. I am तो totally lost. I have a toddler, and one of my friends told me that अभी जो 2 साल वाले बच्चे होते हैं उनको बोलते हैं troublesome twos. तो अभी वो तो
Ah,
तुम्हारा शुरू हो रहा है. So I'm just prepping for the troublesome twos. She starts screaming, running around. So I have lost my sanity. But I want to hear from you guys and learn from you guys, because you have much more experience than I have. That does things get better, and how do I maintain sanity, and how do women around us kind of maintain their cool? So one by one, guys.
So one thing is that if you are yelling, your child will yell more. I'll just give you an
Hmm.
example. Suppose you're waking up your child for the morning bus, and you
Hmm.
will first wake up bacha, then your tone will rise, then your tone will rise. Child also knows that I have to wake up when the tone is this much. If you are the one who doesn't raise the tone at all, and it is okay, one day school miss. The
Hmm.
child will get panicked, my school will get missed. The child
Yes.
will be waking up at this tone only. So it's
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
important that if you want your children to be more calm, you need to be calm as a person,
Right.
right? That is
Right.
something. And I'll tell you, uh, when my daughter was 2 years old, one thing, 10 minutes evening tea, I don't want anybody to disturb me. Unless the house is on fire, I'll get up. That 10 minutes,
Yes.
everybody knows, don't trouble Aarti. I will take my
Nice.
cup of tea in the balcony and I'll have it.
I
Any
love that.
emergency, only somebody. So there is a boundary right when she was 1 or 2,
Hmm.
mama time.
Hmm.
So it's so important to always make them understand boundaries, mama time, papa time, important time, because they learn more patience. They'll wait for their
Yes.
turn.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
it is not motherly love. Allow them to wait. Let
Hmm.
them get bored. These are very, very important aspects, right?
Yes.
Because then the children is learning a lot. And please do take care. Self-care is very, very important for you for 1 hour, 2 hours. Tell your partner, I need these 1 hour, 2 hours. You come up from office, I'm going this 2 hours for maybe a walk or meeting a friend. Make it a routine, make it
Hmm.
a habit. So
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
come after 2 hours, you will be energized.
Yes.
And there is nothing
Yes.
to be guilty about it that I spent 2 hours on myself,
Because
because you are
prioritizing
giving
yourself.
that, you're giving that. And self-care doesn't mean going to parlors. Self-care could be just sitting in one room with 1 hour I need for myself. Please, both of you play. And you can close your door
Nice.
and you can be inside. And then the partner should take care that you tell the child, this is mama's time. The child
Hmm.
starts
Hmm.
understanding Papa is valuing mama time. So I should also do that. So it is
Right.
both
Right.
the partners respect. Suppose our husband is having a very important meeting. Do we allow our children to go into that room?
Not at all.
Papa's time. So mama's
Yeah.
time also has to be there. So it's so important. These boundaries, if you try teaching them when they're 10 or 11, it's too late.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
that
True.
time they have lost कि मम्मा तो हमेशा free होती है, मम्मा के पास मेरे लिए हमेशा time है. You have set that tone only. That. So that's
Yes.
one. Give yourself a priority. I'm not saying leave your children. That 1 hour,
Hmm.
45 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, very, very important to give them
I
that
think.
better smiling childhood, because you will
I think
stay
this is a
calmer.
brilliant point. Yes. I'm going to follow you on the evening tea routine. I think this is very, very important. Yes. Even if I'm in the middle of my chai and I've done that. I've literally done that. She's screaming. I mean, she's asking for something and I've left that chai. Nahi peeni mujhe chai. So, and I can't get back to drinking that tea. I'm so frustrated. And for the next 2 hours, I'll be running around frustrated in the house, helping no one, not helping myself or my daughter or my husband. Everybody's scared of me. Everybody's scared of talking to me. So I think, yeah, that's very important. I'm gonna really take you up on that. Sanghamitra, what about you? What do you do to keep your mental sanity intact, and to just with that time? How what do you do?
I leave everything and I go and call up my mom and start complaining what this is happening at house. I'm going mad. Please help me out right now. I can't handle this kid anyways. Just help me out. She starts telling, calm down, you were like this, you used to do this when you were a child. So have your own time, spend your
Hmm.
time with yourself, give yourself some time. So that is what we miss, I think. Like Aarti, as you
Yeah.
said, having that evening tea is very important. Like spending some time alone is very
Yes.
important. And we forget
Yes.
that when we become mother, we forget that we are a human. We need some time for ourselves. Like, don't do
Absolutely.
anything. Sit and do nothing, but be with yourself. So I am facing this. Just like it's been a month or two. Like my daughter has come, okay,
Hmm.
and she is 12. So handling both the kids together has increased my like frustration, my irritation. Everything has increased. So I go like, I won't do anything. I will not cook. I'll not eat. I'll not work. I won't do anything. I'll just sit. Do not disturb me for
Hmm.
that time. So as you said, Swati, that you keep running 2 hours
Yeah.
frustrated. I can totally relate that. I also do the same thing. And
Right.
like it's very important, like to take out the time for ourselves. And I
Yes.
guess
Because
with time we'll be able to adjust with that thing.
yes.
Like
Yeah. I think that's why we are
making that
called Devi Mas.
boundary.
Yeah, we call Devi Mas for that, right? You have your Raudra Roop, आप काली माँ
Ah,
बन जाते हो. When you're in that zone, everyone's scared of you. Nobody wants to talk to you. Everybody's around tiptoes. ठीक है यार, अभी तो मम्मी अलग zone में है.
मम्मा के पास
And
अभी
then
मत जाओ, बहुत मार पड़ेगी तुमको.
exactly. That's so it's like it's really sad, but that's the hard reality. I think it is so taking that time out and sitting with yourself, taking a breather and just calming yourself down. I think that's very important to keep your
Very
sanity intact.
important, right?
Yes. And I didn't even realize it's almost been an hour, and what a fun conversation, guys. Thank you so much for coming here. We touch base on so many topics and so many different things to learn, so many takeaways, taking time out for yourself, prioritizing your happiness, being equal partners, and yes, work, mom life balance is a myth, and multitasking is a myth. I'm gonna like quote Aarti on that everywhere I go. Thank you so much, Aarti, for bringing that to our notice.
Thank you.
It is a myth, and I'm gonna write that anytime I see. So this Mother's Day on Sunday, if I see even one picture with that mother with 10 hands, I'm gonna tag Aarti and say, guys, this is a myth. Stop, 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 stop making this image viral. I don't like this image. There just needs to be 2 hands and 10 people around the mother supporting the mother. I think that's the image need to probably
Right.
change to that imagery. So thank you so much, guys, for coming here, for resolving the doubts for the audience, and I loved having this conversation. So happy Mother's Day to the both of you, and thank you so
Same to
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for inviting us, Swati. It was really great. And happy
right.
Mother's Day to everyone who will watch this live, who is live right now. And I'm glad that you are here. So that's also an investment on yourself. The biggest investment is always to learn something. And if you are attending this live, it's always an intention to learn. Happy learning and happy Mother's Day to each one of you.
Happy Mother's
Yeah.
Day. Thank you
Happy
so
Mother's
much.
Day.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye.